What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Let It Grow Investing. I am Jeff, and we're going to wrap out the end of the year here on today's episode. It is Monday the 23rd, and we've got a lot of different things I want to get caught up on, some things I think we need to know for the end of the year. It is tax loss harvesting time, so people are taking some of those profits off the table, offsetting it with some of those losers that maybe they don't want to have in their portfolio anymore, or they're just offsetting and then they look to buy those back after that wash sale, after that 30-day cycle, and get back into the position early into 2025, maybe end of January at this point, beginning of February, they start buying back those positions. Yeah, and then I just want to take a look at a lot of the different things that happened over the last week, why the market really deteriorated on Wednesday and Thursday, and potentially some different things that we can see going into 2025. So thank you very much for stopping by. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We are wrapping up the investing challenge purchases for 2024. And I don't even want to hold that from you guys. That is AMD. And because it is 12 o'clock on a Monday, I'm actually going to go ahead and purchase this one live. So I will try to do that right now. Just signing in to Webull. And we're going to go ahead and purchase $200 worth of AMD. AMD is definitely one that I've been kind of talking about. We talked about it last time, why I'm looking to buy that compared to some other stocks that are definitely, in that front runner space of AI, in the chip space. And AMD is sitting right at 125 right now. So we can buy one share, and then we're going to buy $75 worth on fractional share investing, which is one of the benefits of buying on Webull, is for the fact that we can do fractional share investing. I'll just go ahead and put in US dollars, fractional shares, $75. And I'm going to click buy on that share as well. So we got 2 orders done while I'm still talking to you guys. So so why AMD? Well, I think that growth is certainly one that is really set to explode with a lot of the things that they are forecasting for going forward. Their earnings were solid. Their guidance was good. The conference call went really well. So a lot of different things I think are going on right now with AMD. I think we're taking a lot of those losses off the table. If you go back and you look at the last year for AMD, anyone who was bought this year, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I got it pulled up here. Well, let me get to AMD on E-Trade. Let's go ahead and share that. Yeah, so if we look at the 1-year chart here, anyone that purchased from last January at 150, up to 210, 227 in March, right? We're looking around that 210 mark. It did spike up to 227. We see over here on the 8th. They're all at a loss at this point, right? So maybe they did buy some Tesla, maybe they did buy some Palantir, and they're taking some gains on some of those positions, and they're offsetting it with some of the losses from AMD. Or they had NVIDIA, right? They're cashing out some of that NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is actually in correction stage right now. So maybe some of the people that have had all the profits there are taking them, right? I don't think that anything is, fundamentally changed for NVIDIA as well. It's been really solid, right? The earnings look even better than AMD's, but I do think that AMD has that quicker rebound effect with a lot of good news that has kind of been building up, but people haven't really been either paying attention or they've been looking at some other shinier objects that are out there. Yeah, I'm looking at SoFi, I'm looking at Palantir, I'm looking at Tesla, I'm looking at all of those that have been in rally mode for the past 3 months at this point. We've been kind of covering that. You got to have a buyer, you got to have a seller. So people are getting out of one or not buying it, and maybe they're taking some profits out of NVIDIA, rolling it, maybe not back into AMD, but maybe they're rolling it into, Bitcoin or wherever they're putting it. So now at the end of the year, there's no real reason. We got 5% up today on AMD, which I'm happy to see, but there's no real fundamental reason that AMD is, not that I know of as of right now. NVIDIA stock is rising. What's helping the AI chip maker? Wider rally in tech. Okay, right, but nothing has really changed with AMD. They don't have a new product that they just dropped yesterday. They don't have anything, that changed with earnings. That was a month and a half ago. We're waiting for the 28th of January for that next, earnings report to see really what happened. So the fact that we're up 4.76% today, yes, I've been buying. I bought higher, I bought lower. I'm going to continue building this position. because I think that the first quarter to the middle of the year should really reward us well for holding AMD stock, right? And there's about 46% of upside. I'm sure there's a lot of other ones that we're going to look at that are probably in the same space. NVIDIA, I know they got some upside too, 28. Micron, they did beat earnings. We saw that this past week, but they traded down on the guidance. They were saying the guidance for the first half of the year was a little bit less than what they were anticipating. And that thing just dropped like a rock, right? It went down brutally. And you know what? I bought more. I still believe that this is a great company for the long term. And here is that 5-day chart. We had this happen, right? We had this big sell-off as we got that news from 110, and we dropped back down. So I was into this one. I was really trying to buy it sub 100. If we go back out a month, you'll kind of see where we were there. It dipped into here on a couple occasions. Under 100 I was buying, and then I was buying under 90 as well. So again, I'm trying to build a position for a long term. I don't think that this is necessarily going to be an overnight success story, but I do believe over the course of the next year, we should start to see some gains as some of the DRAM and other AI chip space that Micron is developing really start to rally forward. I think those sales are going to come in strong. So I'm still bullish long-term on Micron and AMD. I do believe that the sell-off in Micron was overdone. I don't think that we needed this sort of drop for a little bit weaker guidance than what they had originally forecasted. I think it was overdone. So I went ahead and bought that. That's my 2 cents, right? What else do we have out there? What also happened on Wednesday was the Fed, right? So we can probably just take a look at the SPY and see what happened in the past 5 days. And we'll see that drop when it came to Wednesday, right? This is about Wednesday, 2:00. 6:05, we got that 25 basis point cut. And then they said, hey, look, we're not going to get as many cuts in 2025 as we previously anticipated. So that hurt a lot of the growth stocks, right? Every time we look at cheaper funds rate, we look to see, what growth stocks are going to be hurt by this. Or no, that's not what I'm saying. Cheaper funds rate is better for growth stocks. The fact that we're not getting more cuts is a bad sign for growth stocks, as they have to borrow more money. They got to borrow at a more expensive rate. So the fact that we're not getting those cuts is going to hurt the growth stocks. Correction, right? So we see this big sell-off. We see the whole S&P go down. Some did better than others, but those growth stocks were really targeted on the forward guidance from the Fed on Wednesday. So yes, we kind of had that 25 basis point cut really kind of cooked into the numbers at this point. Everyone was anticipating that. We weren't really too sure as to what was going to be happening going forward. So that was the big kind of takeaway from the Wednesday news, right? The other thing that really hurt me Wednesday, as I was down, $20,000+ in a given afternoon, when I started the day up about $5,000-$6,000. Was the fact of what was happening with Merck, ticker MRK. Let's take a look at this one. I've been watching Viking, right? We've been talking about Viking Therapeutics for a while. I made a snap decision, as I probably shouldn't have, but I guess there was a couple different things going on. You had the Fed coming out. You had Merck that was potentially going to be a buyer for Viking Therapeutics with their quad treatment GLP-1 for weight loss. That was going to be something that was a possibility, right? Merck needed a GLP. They thought that the Viking one might be one of the best ones that was coming out. And, the fact that Merck could potentially have the cash in order to buy them. Well, what Merck went ahead and did, instead of buying Viking, they went ahead and licensed the product from China that is actually a GLP-1, and they're going to be selling that stateside. We'll see the license deal for LM299 with LaNova Medicines. So now, instead of potentially getting into the GLP-1 by buying or merging with another company, they are licensing a Chinese product to get into the market as fast as possible. So that hurt Eli Lilly, that hurt Novo, and it decimated Viking. Viking was down a pretty, shockingly when we were looking at those numbers, right? We were probably up here in the 47s. We dropped down to 38 really quickly, and it definitely was noticeable, right? So I had a decision to make. The whole market was down. Viking was getting destroyed, and I went ahead and sold it. I don't know, guys. It's definitely a case of you've got more competition from Merck. You don't have the buyer that they thought they might have. Novo's product came out, and that was not as effective with their treatment as Eli Lilly's, which also had Eli Lilly looking stronger. Novo went down with the fact that theirs wasn't being as strong as well in comparison to how many people could actually accept the full dosage without having severe side effects. So that was a problem. And Eli Lilly was the only one that really was looking stronger. There's a chart for Eli Lilly. Yes, we dropped, but then we shot back up as their product was looking better against Novo. I don't really think that Merck licensing a deal from China is going to get doctors to go ahead and say, hey, yeah, take this one from China rather than taking the one from Eli Lilly that's made domestically. So I made the call to get out of Viking. I went ahead and bought more Eli Lilly. I do think that this thing has more runway to go from here. You got 32% upside, average price target's 1,040. I don't need it to be there. I just think long-term, this is going to be a safer play for me, and I don't want to bet the farm on simply just being in Viking. Yeah, I see this is the problem. You look at these numbers and you're like, man, 111 would be awesome. If this thing could get to 85, it would be awesome. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if this is going to get approved. I don't know if it's, what's going to happen. And I mean, I guess I can kind of cite another one that did get approved last week. And, I had a buddy that was in this one for big money. And he was trying to figure out what was going on with Humacyte. Humacyte's got artificial veins. I think they're synthetic. I know they were making them lab-grown veins, essentially. So he was looking at this one. I was in it in the $5 range. It was getting really shaken out. A lot of different things were happening here. I had sold out of it. And then, they got approval. They got approval on Friday morning. This thing shot up. I think pre-market, it was up to like 650. So it was up, I forget the percentage, 80% or something like that over the course of a day, just for the fact that they got FDA approval on their product. Now, some people have, gone back and forth with this one. There's other artificial ones that I forget the whole ins and outs of everything, right? But they are much cheaper. It was $1,000 for this one artificial vein, or Humacytes that was, I think, more genetically stable, and it didn't have as much problems with people accepting them when they were, installing them surgically. Humacytes was a better project, but it was, 20 times more expensive at like $25,000 versus the I guess I'll say the artificial one at $1,000 or $1,500. So the adoption of the product is going to be limited by who wants to pay for this product versus the other artificial, rather than this synthetic, more lifelike vein or artery that Humacyte is making. So yes, it got approved, but then it still tanks back down, right? So if we look at it over the course of Thursday to now, we're looking, we went from 350 to 450. But if we look over the past 3 months, we'll look at, it was up at 6 before. It gets approval. It goes up to 6, but now we're still trading at 450. So again, do you really want to bet the farm on a speculative play, or do you feel more comfortable buying into like an Eli Lilly that is going to do this? They're going to potentially be the ones that buy, the product from Humacyte, or they license that deal and they make it themselves, right? So it's really difficult to play FDA approvals. It's really difficult to trade in and out of these stocks. A lot of people on the analyst side are probably still at $15 on Humacyte. We got some $17 price targets. I don't know that it's going to get there. 17 was today, 10 on Friday, 15, 10, and then back on November 14th, it was at 6. So I don't know that the approval really is going to matter as much, because I don't know if insurance companies are going to pay for it when there's another option out there that is going to be used in a lot of different cases, a lot of different scenarios, versus Humacyte's product that is needed in some, but not all cases. So it's definitely hard to play. It's definitely hard to know what happens there. But is that the rest of the week, right? I'm trying to think. We covered a little bit of tech. We covered, I do need to cover Palantir. We covered some, GLP-1s. Let's take a look at Palantir. I do want to cover this real quick, because this was big news on, the average price target I was 44.85. I did have that covered call expire in the red. It was brutal. Don't ask me about it. I set that thing back when it was like $17 or $20 for 40, and it's gone. I sold 100 shares at 40, and good thing I still got more of them. Insider activity. That's what I want to pull up. We are looking at the CFO selling. We've got the president selling. I know there was another one. We've got the CTO selling $369 million worth. But I know there was someone else selling more. And that is what I wanted to cover. So let me see if I can't kind of pull that one up. But I will kind of talk, while I'm searching here, as to what is going on with Palantir. Do we want to buy this thing? And that is that's a tough call. Long term, I still really, really like Palantir, but the PE and the numbers are pulled so far forward that things have to go perfect, or I think we're going to get a massive sell-off. I think that the numbers that they have, the 30% revenue growth, if that slows down to 20, I think that we can retest, $50. If it does go up to that 40% that some people are talking about, yes, we could test 100, but I don't know that is going to be feasible to hold that sort of revenue growth for Palantir going forward. So I'm trying to take a look here. We had that's not what I'm looking for. Stephen Andrew Cohen sold. I think we had that one. Man, I'm trying to find this one, guys. There was someone that had 6 million shares worth of Palantir, and they just sold 500 million. I want to say something like that. I'm trying to find this thing. Sec Form 4 reports. What do we got? David Glazer sold 23 million. Stephen Cohen sold 95 million. That might have been it. But the one that bothered me, and I can't find it. I heard about it, but now I can't find it, which doesn't do us any good, is the fact that they sold 5.2 million shares, and then they only were left with about 700,000 shares. So that was definitely concerning, right? They sold out of their big position for, lots of money right there. And now they're left with, kind of pennies on the sideline. Yes, they have all sorts of reasons to sell, but this isn't like I need to, pay some tax bill or buy a house. This was, I'm cashing out, right? Essentially, I have like 15% left of my total position, and I really don't want any more to do with Palantir stock, so I'm dumping all of it at this premium valuation. If they thought they're going to get to that 40% revenue growth, phase, they would have held on to more, unless they needed $400-500 million in order to live for the next couple of years, which is just insane. But that's how some of these C-suite executives operate, right? They have that many in shares, and they've got that amount of growth in it, and it is what it is. But we're looking at a stock that's trading at a 407 PE. We're looking at some numbers that are just overly inflated, right? Man, it's really tough. I'm going to show this Refinitiv report. It is at a hold. Yes, we have 367% of gains this year. We've got a stock that is forward PEs at a 176, higher than every other one in this sheet here, which there's some other high growth stocks here. Broker downgrades 4, no upgrades, negative 47% on that price target. Yeah, I mean, the earnings per share are going to, kind of taper off here by end of Q4, first quarter 25. They're going to be bringing them back down, which is not good to see. For the year, it looks like 25 will be a slight increase, potentially about 9 cents per share. Not really anything that you're going to write home about and say this is a go all in at this moment stock. So I have a really hard time seeing. See, right now we're at 26 forecasted growth, and then by the end of 25, 57. And that's cumulative. So this is about a 31% revenue growth forecasted. We would really have to get up to about 40% to really see any sort of gains, I think. And that is going to be really, really tough. So we're really up against a tough price per share in order to put up any gains going forward. So yeah, we were at 2.2. Now we're at 2.8. And then we're looking to go to 3.5. So I think a lot of this stock price already got pulled forward. It's going to be really, really tough to make any money in the stock for the next couple of years. I think the company is going to continue to do well, but I think we really pulled a lot of those gains forward. And I think we're seeing a lot of insider selling for that. Forward PEs at a 176. The 5-year average is a 74. So we're north of 100% premium on that forward metric, which is definitely rough to see. The PEG ratio is high. That's not the end of the world. As far as the growth that they're putting up, the average for the S&P is at 2.1. We're at 2.9. Price to sales at a 62. That is alarming. That is very high. I wouldn't want to buy this one much higher than the teens. And I say all these things. I still think that Palantir is a great company. I still think that there's a lot of good things going on over there. I think it is very expensive to purchase now, thinking that you're going to really have these continued gains going forward. So do your homework. Every metric here is high. Trailing PE is at a 402. Forward is at a 176. Your PEG ratio is potentially the only thing that is remarkably close to being somewhat of a value, right? 2.9 isn't the end of the world. It's expensive, but it's not the end of the world compared to a 400 trailing PE or a 176 on the forward. That's crazy. So just be mindful of the things that are out there. I'll say that to say this. There's other things like we talked about. NVDA is in correction territory. They have come down off of that high, something significant, and people are putting that money elsewhere. So when I go ahead and I pull up NVIDIA, I'm looking at this one. I'm looking at AMD. I look at all of it. But, your trailing 12 months PE on NVIDIA is a 53. The dividend's nothing. We know that. But yeah, we came down from 152. We're at 138. I think that going forward, I think we can hit 170. I certainly think that that is a obtainable number within the next 12 months. I don't think that Palantir has too much more upside to give unless something fundamentally changes, where NVIDIA has a lot more of the price side that makes more sense to get into a position here. I have been buying NVIDIA. I was trying to buy under 130, and I think I bought, back here. I was trying to look at this low. It was like 129. I was trying to buy a little bit there. We're sitting 138 now. It's not like it's run away too much. I was just trying to get into some of the position there. Refinitiv, I'm going to pull that one up. It is a buy. 5-year return of 2,100%. That's not too shabby. We'll definitely take those gains. Marvell, I still like there. Broadcom, I still love you guys. Broadcom, thank you. Qualcomm, I did sell out of the little bit I had left there. Just too much concern with Apple chips and what's going on there. The modems that Qualcomm was making, I don't know what the future of Qualcomm is. So that is concerning. But When we're looking at NVIDIA, 26% of upside here. Average price target of 170, high of 220, low of 75. Maybe. Maybe. I don't see it. There's too strong a growth. And when I get down to the growth here, you'll see it too. The revenue for 2025, we're looking at a forecasted growth of 112% and 222% by the end of 2026. So the fact that it went out of favor on Wall Street, I guess it shows us how quickly things can change on Wall Street, right? If you asked anyone 6 months ago, NVIDIA was the best thing you could buy, the only stock you needed. And now it's kind of quiet, right? It's been quiet, but Palantir is potentially doing the same thing. Everyone that didn't know about Palantir already knows it. The big money is going to be selling. We already saw the insiders selling. You're going to see a lot of people locking in profits there. And then I do think that, Q1, end of January, I think you'll start to see some people roll back into some of the numbers they already sold out of. AMD, I think people take a little bit of the losses there and then rotate them forward into 2025. I think the people that already cashed out of NVIDIA are waiting for the right time to get back in. And I think that is going to be into the new year, right? The revenue gains are insane. The dividend, again, nothing. It says 75%, but we're still at a dividend yield of 0.0 nothing. And we're at a 20% discount on forward. We're on a 30% discount on trailing. And I'm guessing the PEG ratio is at a 0.6. 0.6, guys. This is still a buy. As far as I'm concerned, it's still a buy. Now, I do think that there is more immediate upside in AMD. I still think that long-term, NVIDIA is a company that I think most people need to own. It's very, very tough, right? I went ahead and posted, this is why I'm buying AMD. And everyone said, well, why would you do that? Buy NVIDIA instead. I'm saying, I already have NVIDIA. That's not the point. I'm not trying to get all my dollars into NVIDIA. I wanted to have that quicker rebound story from AMD. So again, I'm into a lot of different names. I'm in Lamb. I'm in. Sorry guys, I was not sharing the actual report. My bad. Let me go back through that. I'm into these other names. Let me share this one instead. And if I wasn't doing that, I apologize. Buy 2100. Let's take a look real quick. And let me just get down to the brass tacks, I guess I'll say. We've got this annual revenue increase right here. I don't know if it went away when I clicked out of this or if I just didn't share it at all. But dividend growth, I'm looking over here. If you're looking at Refinitiv, I'm just giving you a quick walkthrough, or Reuters, as to how to look at these different things to see what you're looking at. Trailing PE, we're real clear to see. It's a 20% discount on forward, 30% discount on trailing. And then I go down here and I'm looking at where we are on this forward PEG ratio. This is one of the quickest and easiest ways to know if you're getting a decent value for the growth that they're going to be putting up for the next 5 years. I do like that, and I love this chart. And I think that we have traded down, and people are letting this one kind of settle. So, sorry about that. And let me see if I can't now share NVIDIA real quick. Let's just pull that one back up on E-Trade. Let me go ahead and do that. There we go. We've got a stock that I think is ready to run again. If I look at the year to date, we definitely had this nice run up, but we have kind of cooled sideways here for, the last 3 months or so. It's been kind of sideways, if not down. So I am definitely thinking that this is still going to be a strong stock for 2025. I think that your other chip names are going to do really well. I hope to see Lam Research get back in on some of these gains. They have been doing fairly well. They did just have a recent kind of sell down, but still about 28% there. Broadcom, we got a couple different things going on here. And Broadcom doesn't have much on the way of upside. And then, Qualcomm. Let's take a look at Qualcomm. I had this covered call. I got out of this thing, I think, like 175. It's traded down. It's still got upside, but I'm not too sure where this thing is going to go going forward. And, so that's what we got there. So a lot of different things that I'm trying to, keep an eye on over this past week. Oh, you know what I did want to look at was United Health. Let's take a look at that one. United Health was on the investing challenge for this week. I do think that this thing rebounds. It's hard to know with what's going on, legal side of things with the CEO getting murdered. That is really a big question mark as to what happens going forward with protection for CEOs, protection for the company. Is this just going to be a back and forth battle as to what gets paid, what gets denied, and really where we go from here on United Health? So I think that could be a part of the problem as to knowing what happens going forward. Otherwise, I would say that this thing has plenty of room to go up if it weren't for that kind of backdrop as to what's going on. So I have bought a little bit, but I haven't really loaded up on this one. I did start a position in Eli Lilly like I was talking about. I still don't think that this one's too far away in order to get back into this thing. 31.5% of upside here. Their drug was looking stronger than Novo's. We've also got Merck, licensing that Chinese product, and then we've got Viking, and I still think that one is a bit of an unknown. But I mean, I definitely think that Eli Lilly right now has a lot of that first mover advantage. So I think that what they are doing is strong. I hope to see that it stays, on a strong path and kind of can fight some of these this rebound here and kind of come back up. And, I'm going to try to build this position a little bit more in the meantime because I've only got 10 shares right now. So I will look to build that one up a little bit more. I am still buying O. I've been buying O about every day. This thing has been trading down with the fact that a lot of their product or a lot of their properties have a lot of warehousing space from product coming from China. The thought, and one of the reasons that O is coming down, is that if tariffs do come in, a lot of these products from China are going to get more expensive. And are they going to be able to warehouse as much? Are they going to be able to pay as much if their product is more expensive? So is O Realty going to be affected by that? But in the meantime, I'm going to collect this monthly dividend of about 6%, and I'm going to continue to build up my position in O Realty. The other one, and right now there's about 19% of upside with the 6% dividend yield. So I'm going to continue buying that. Other one that I'm still buying is UPS. Still about 19% of upside here. I believe we've got about a 5% dividend yield on that. You have 5.2. Trailing PE, trailing's at a 19. It's probably a little bit cheaper than that going forward. I am down a bit on this one, but I am still interested in purchasing this long term. I think a lot of their problems are getting to the point where they're behind them, and I think that this thing can start to pull forward into 2025. So we've got around 17.8% of upside here from Refinitiv, and hopefully a lot of these numbers start to turn back around. Yes, a lot of the bottom here is built in on 23, 24, and then for 25, we start to move back up, albeit not that much. But I think that the stock price has really deteriorated, and it is at a point where we can start to buy this thing, collect those dividends until the stock price actually starts to turn back around. So with that being said, that is going to be my Christmas week report for you guys. That is really the ones that I'm looking at. That's a lot of the things that have caught my eye this week. We talked about the rate cuts. We talked about GLP-1s. We talked about AMD and NVDA. We talked Palantir, why I'm not looking to buy that one at the moment. I still think it's a great stock long term, but it really has gotten away from us in the past couple months. So that's what I got. Please feel free to let me know what you guys think as far as what I'm doing with AMD, why I'm not buying any more Palantir, why I'm still buying into Micron, and why I'm still looking to buy more NVIDIA after the amount of gains that we've already had in this one. So thank you guys for stopping by. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, but I will see you guys next Monday for what will be the last show of 2024. So thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.